Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to a professional match of StarCraft 2. It's the Monday morning over here in the Netherlands, and what better way than to start this week than with a best-of-5 series of top-level Zerg versus Terran. One of my personal favorite matchups in the game. So spawning here in the top left-hand corner of Lightshade and playing with the blue Zerg drones. We have one of the highest-ranked Zerg players on the planet, and his name is Dark. His opponent in the opposite corner, chatting away right now, playing with the red Terran SCVs, likewise also one of the very best, and likewise also from South Korea. We're looking at ByuN's main command center. Oh, we do have a translator. Okay, so Crank says that ByuN says, "I'll kill you." Then Dark responds with, "Please no." ByuN says, "Well." And then Dark says all of this. I actually like that we've had translators actually in these games. So that's just an observer, by the way. I'm very sorry that I won versus you so much. Okay, a little bit of trash talk to start this particular series off. Generally speaking, whenever there's like a spectator in the games these days, apparently, I mean, this is something that's been happening for a couple of months right now. Whenever the players are chatting away at each other and someone in the observer seat speaks both Korean as well as English, they translate it, so it's pretty cool. Crank, of course, one of the tournament organizers for the Olimo League. In case you're unfamiliar, that's also what this particular series is from, by the way. So this best of 5 is from the Olimo League. I believe it was from the April Grand Finals, which happened like a week and a half or so ago. Anyways, in case you're unfamiliar, the Olimo League, it's a tournament that's being held between South Korean players only. By the way, we have a bit of a cheeky build right now from Dark. He opens up with a very quick pool. Oh, and then a very quick Roach Warren as well. Okay, anyways, I'll go ahead and post a link to their Patreon page down below in the description of this video, because I believe that's the only way in which they actually fund this particular event. Now, okay, this is really good for ByuN. ByuN is actually SCV scouting. So he has once again decided to skip the Reaper, which we have seen him do many times over the last couple of months. And oftentimes he then also forgoes the actual SCV scout. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if this particular opener right here from Dark is specifically meant to counter someone who is not scouting. Alright, so right now, ByuN, of course, gets the heads up. He still has that CC going up on the low ground. Still only has one Marine, or I guess 2 Marines right at this point. The second one just spawned. But he's going to be able to, at the very least, start up a bunker here. Without that bunker, I think holding this sort of aggression would be quite tricky. That being said, I mean, the Zerglings aren't really getting too much done, okay? They were just waiting for the SCV to scoot towards the top section right here of that building command center. He really wants to kill it. Okay, he will. Second SCV immediately picks up the job, but now already a bunch of roaches are gonna be coming out. This is a very cheesy opener, and honestly, at this level of play, I don't think it should really work. Should it? I mean, it's not a build that is very common, I suppose, so you do need to have, obviously, a very specific response here if you are facing this as a Terran player. But ByuN has decided to go for a quick second gas. He's going for the factory with the tech lab, and rather than going siege tanks right now, which I think is what a lot of weaker players would do, I love this, he's decided to go for the Cyclone. Cyclone, obviously, very microable. It's going to be fantastic against these slow Zerg units. I mean, there's no link speed. It's just going to be, I think I saw 12 additional slow Zerglings here as a follow-up. This is Dark, basically putting all of his eggs in one basket right here in this game number 1. And the question is there going to be enough? I mean, if he loses that Cyclone, it's game over. He cannot lose the Cyclone. All right, so the SCV is ready here to repair. It's only 3 SCVs. Okay, one of them will end up going down here. A couple more SCVs actually pop from the main base as well. There are 4 Marines inside of the bunker. Cyclone takes a lot of damage, but it's still not down. Okay, finally it does get picked up. 4 SCVs go down. Marines desperately try to run towards the high ground, and what I thought was not going to be that amazing, considering that ByuN scouted it somewhat. I mean, he didn't see the he didn't see the Roach Warren as a follow-up. This is now dealing quite a lot of damage. Keep in mind, though, that Dark is also... Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of eco, right? So... even right now, I mean, yeah, this is still really not looking that hot. 8 SCVs end up going down, but I mean, there's still obviously energy accumulating in these orbital commands. They're going to be able to, yeah, bring the mules to the party relatively easily. And right now, I mean, big picture, we're sitting at 25 SCVs for Terran plus mules versus 23 drones for our Zerg player. Okay, he does have a little bit of energy, apparently, so starts up a couple of tumors. He also does still have a lot of slow Zerglings that will eventually finish up their link speed upgrade. I mean, that's still going to be quite some time, though. It's actually one of those upgrades that you don't realize takes quite some time until you, you know, start it up late. You always finish it up as one of your very first upgrades to Zerg, but this particular case, these bad boys over here are not going to have a whole lot of speed. So, was that a successful attack right there from our Zerg player? I don't think so. Although, I guess it kind of depends on what happens with these Zerglings, especially now that apparently ByuN has decided to move out. I mean, ByuN always does this. Whenever he's got a Medivac and he's got a couple units, he will bring them to the other side of the map in these kind of scenarios, right? So, he's hunting right now, I guess, for Overlords, maybe a Queen or so. The worst case scenario right at this point is that he just picks up... Oh, he scans and goes after the tumors? That is quite an expensive scan, but I kind of like it. Can you go after that one, sir? There you go. Oh, no, he doesn't get it. That's actually quite unfortunate there. Okay, he does get the lock on right there as well. Another Ravager ends up going down. I mean, unless he loses the Medivac here with both of the Cyclones in it, I think that this is just fine. He looks on right here to the individual queens, and apparently, oh, that was actually kind of beautiful there. Synchronized Cyclone shooting apparently is a new Olympic game. I thought he actually needed to lock on with two of them right there, but it wasn't necessary. Anyways, link speed at this point is done. Marines are out in the middle of the map as well, hiding in the tall grass. Maybe Dark is bringing his Pokeballs right over here, right? To try and see if he can maybe catch something. Well, you're gonna find something else in the tall grass, my man, and it's dead Zerglings. Yeah, this is not good. This is not good at all for Dark. Dark, like, honestly, that little queen move right there was really cool, right? Anyways, Dark is gonna... Yeah, be slowing down on his eco. He's going to be slowing down on his army. He's going to be slowing down on his creep spread. He's going to be slowing down on his expansion rate. Whereas ByuN is, yeah, firmly sitting in the driver's seat of this particular game. So what exactly is his follow-up going to be? Well, it's additional barracks, right? It's going to be Stimpack. Wouldn't be surprised to see Combat Shield as a follow-up, of course. He's going to be able to pump out 2 of those Medivacs at once very shortly. And he's just going to be building up that economy. So, third command center here to complete the wall of. This is a very clean game so far here for the Terran player. Now, what exactly is the option at this point for Dark? Honestly, I think you go for one of two. Either you go full eco or you go full army. So I don't actually mind what he's doing here. Making a bunch of additional overlords. You don't make 4 overlords unless you want to make a lot of units. So if he goes for drones right now, that would be kind of a mistake. But I'm assuming here he just wants to make non-stop units and then maybe try to overwhelm his opponent eventually. I mean, in a perfect situation here, in a perfect game, Terran always wins. But I think as a Zerg here, your best option may very well be to try and, you know, maybe catch your opponent while they're moving out. So you can go in for like a run by in a natural, or I don't know. You gotta pull something off at this point is what I'm trying to get at. And I don't think going both drones and attacking units is going to be the way to win this game. I think you have to go for one of the two. Anyway, so the third does finish up, I think. Maybe this is something you can surround. I mean, he's been making a lot of units here for quite some time. If you can get a full wraparound of all of these units, maybe you can indeed grab it. Okay, bunch of Marines end up going down. Cyclones get picked off as well. Raven's starting to run low on health. A little bit of an overextension right there for ByuN. I would not mind seeing, yeah, how many tanks does he have? I was going to say, like, I would not mind seeing a little bit more siege tank production, but he's been happily rolling out with those bad boys for quite some time. Is he really going to attack into this? Okay, looks like it, yeah. Okay, so that must mean that he's feeling very confident about his situation, because he knows by seeing that amount of army there from Dark that it's likely non-stop Zerg unit production as well. He knows that he's got the economical advantage, right? Because playing 3 base versus 3 base is always an advantage for the Terran player here. He still decides to move out. So this is ByuN basically shouting, "Get out of my game." He's both using scans as well as a Raven right here for detection, right? That's when you know someone's feeling really confident. Once siege tank ends up going down, Marines are going to be forced to back up. Creep spread is very lackluster, of course. I mean, this feels very greedy here from ByuN, right? I mean, here we go. Zerg decides to commit right here. Is there going to be enough? Okay, first siege tank ends up going down. Second siege tank is going to be picked up as well. Bunch of Marines right here for the reinforcements. They will not step inside of those corrosive bile. Raven even drops the auto turret. That was about as good as an engagement as you could find right here. I don't think you could really get a whole lot better here for Dark than what he just got. So he's got a fourth hatchery going up in the main base. Then also one at the 12 o'clock position. So 5 hatches here in total. Still only sitting at 42 drones though. Yeah, he's going up against 69 Terran SCVs. That's pretty nice. Yeah, I think this game is over. Yeah, it doesn't really matter, right? Like, the problem there is, whatever Dark does, because of that early game, he's just, unless he gets like an absolutely phenomenal trade, but he's just gonna get walked over at some point. And right now, ByuN doubles his supply. Alrighty, so game number 2 will take us to Oxide LE. And this is a map, of course, that's gonna be the Terran's choice. Because, I mean, Oxide is a pretty fantastic map for Terran. I don't know what the current win rate on this particular map is at, but there's no denying that it's very good for Terran. And usually if a map is very good for Terran, I mean it's really good for macro Terran. This is the one map where I would not really... Well, I guess there's a couple of maps, like Blackburn as well, but this is one of the maps where you would not expect Proxy Barracks as a Zerg player because it's so good in straight up Terran versus Zerg. ByuN. This is dirty, and you know it. This map, I think it's got... I can actually look it up real quick, okay? While we watch a couple of barracks going up. Liquipedia, Oxide LE. So it keeps track of all of the pro games that are being played, and then it gives you the statistics. So, okay, at the professional level, 515 games have been played on Oxide LE, and 58.6 of them go in favor of Terran. Now, that may not sound very extreme, but at the professional level of StarCraft, that is a lot. Especially because it means, of course, that we don't see a whole lot of games on this map in particular for Terran versus Zerg. Just because, you know, Zerg players don't really like to play it, and they will oftentimes veto it. Meaning that it only really comes up in best of 5 series. Anyways, I'm gonna make the assumption then that Blackburn was vetoed by Dark. He goes up against a Terran player who damn well knows that this is a great map to play Terran Zerg, or sorry, Terran Macro on versus Zerg. And, well, this is what we get. I kinda dig it. Okay. Because of that, I don't think really we're going to see a whole lot of scouting here from Dark either. I mean, maybe this... Oh, my God. Oh, the Overlord was rallied in that direction. Oh, that's so unfortunate. Well, he will see the 2 SCVs right here. That's something. Losing this OV, though, is also a disaster. Okay, ByuN looks at it. He makes the executive decision that there's no way he's going to be able to kill that Overlord in time, but he starts up a bunker over here instead, and the Marine walks forward to try and make sure that it can protect that bunker too. Drones are pulled away from the main base, which is indeed the right call. Spinecrawler starts up as well. I think you want to try and chase down those units, but obviously this is already so much lost mining time right now. He needs to buy time right now for the Queens to come out, as well as that Spinecrawler. So maybe micro back to weaken drones? No, not going to do that. Okay, 1 drone ends up going down there, I think. 2 drones, 3 drones. Nice targeting right here by ByuN. He just tries to deal as much damage as possible. This is a double barracks cheese, meaning that it's not even really that committed. That little choke point over there between like that pillar and the rocks is absolutely phenomenal. That is so much damage being done here. Oh my God. Well, may as well GG out at this point, my man. I mean, his bunker is irrelevant. He's not even going to salvage it. Okay. 12 drones. So, I don't know what kind of series I'm in for, right? When I press the record button. But this seems to be very one-sided so far. Perfect defense in game number 1 by ByuN. Then perfect offense, I suppose, by ByuN in game number 2. So, I mean, yeah, it's only like a 10 drone difference. But the problem is that this is like 200% Terran economy compared to the Zergs, right? Like, it's a lot. Especially if we look right now at the income. Oh my God. That is bad. Yeah, that's really bad. Second CC is coming up as well. Now, I guess the one thing that Zerg does still have going for him is the fact that he's got that natural expansion done. Plus, he knows that those barracks are floating towards the other side of the map again. So, yeah, at the very least, there's not going to be any pressure for a while. So, creep spread can come out quite nicely. He's going to be able to spend all of his money right here on drones for quite some time. So maybe he can catch up, but this is... When you go for a double barracks cheese opposed to like a triple barracks cheese, I think that's about the best you can hope for right here. Starport comes up as well. We see a 1 reactor over here, so he can still go for Hellions if he wants to. Yep, I don't mind it at all. Usually we see the switcheroo right here where it goes onto the starport instead, so you can start producing the Medivacs right away, but... I mean, you can always go for some follow-up pressure, right? Which is quite nice. I think one of the reasons why we normally see the Medivac follow-up, or at least that's what I see most of the time on the ladder. Maybe this is actually the way you want to be playing it, but... it's usually because of, like, if there's a Spinecrawler still available, right? I mean, what's that Spinecrawler gonna do? What's gonna be fantastic when it comes to poking away at all of those Hellions? Anyways, third hatchery apparently is gonna be the name of the game. Dark did catch up quite nicely, by the way. I'm quite impressed by that. When you look at the work account right now, yeah. He's sitting at 37 versus 28. This is when Terran players get very tilted about it, right? It's like, it's disgusting, Zerg. All they do is just 4 SD. 4 being the hatcheries, S being select larva, and D being drone. If you actually look at the... That's kind of funny. If you ever had a StarCraft offline tournament, and you look at the pro gamers' keyboards, especially the Zerg players have a lot of faded out SD keys. Turns out if you click that repeatedly, yeah, it will eventually rub off the text that it is. Anyways, a lot of them do have hardware sponsorships as well, though, so they cycle through different kinds of hardware quite a lot. Oh my god, Medivac. Oh, that's so dirty! Where'd that Medivac go? The Medivac went... Oh. Let me back up for just a little bit, because that was actually a beautiful move. So, this Medivac, right? It shows itself over here to the queens in the main base. That it drops off the Hellions. Because of the spine at the front, Dark puts most of his defenses at the main base. Well, I guess it's only reinforcing links here, but now everything runs up there. Empty Medivac goes into the main, and then the drones in the natural are vulnerable as the Hellions just drive by. That is a nasty build right there, ByuN. Or a nasty build, a nasty strategy. Look at ByuN over here, playing an actual strategy game. Can you believe it? Well, if you were doubting the Hellion follow-up here with the Medivac, even though this is obviously a misplay here from Dark, he did the best with the info that he had. So sick. 9 drones end up going down here at the cost of 4 Hellions. And obviously the Hellions also kept him safe if this would have been a Zergling all-in as a follow-up, right? So it's a clever little play right there from ByuN, who now once again solidly finds himself in an advantage. He's gone for this... Wait, combat shield... Oh, no. Okay, I didn't even realize he already finished up Stimpack so quick. Alright, so Stimpack is already done. Combat shield is coming up here next. This is ByuN capable of going for more aggression right now, right? Okay, so Dark is once more trying to play catch-up. He's gone for only a single Evo Chamber upgrade, prioritizing Carapace, which I actually quite like. He's also saved some energy up right here on these queens, so transfuses are going to be available. Cheeky little Zergling run by, maybe? Not going to happen. It's blocked. Well, I don't think Dark hears that, but... What are the reasons why this map is so good for Terran? It's because of some nasty siege tank spots that are very hard to break. There's another one over here. There's another one over here, too, where you can actually hit units on the other side of that little crevice. Either way, ByuN is going to be able to start slow pushing right now quite effectively as well with all of the creep gone. Zerglings are setting themselves up for either a sandwich right here on top of that Terran army or for a counterattack. Since the third CC, though, hasn't even, like, yeah, it's not done yet. It's... Oh my god. Well, this is bad. This is really bad for Dark. I love as well what ByuN is doing here, where he only stims forward a couple of the units. So obviously he knows that Dark has got units out on the map, or at least he expects it. So if Lynx right now would come in from the back to try and wrap around those siege tanks, it would never happen. They would just insta-die. Is that going to be a range of the siege tank? No. Well, maybe it is. He might need vision of it. Alright, well this is a slow push, right? So it's kind of, yeah, taking its sweet time. That being said, there's a couple of siege tanks here for defense as well. Additional barracks come up. Stimpack, combat shield, all of it is done. One Zergling over here at the front. What's it gonna do? Medivacs right now accidentally spot those links that are coming in from the... Yeah, from the back as well. I don't think you can commit on this. Oh, well, he's gonna try. Well, maybe, you know what? Yeah, this is actually looking quite good. It's a lot of units. He actually drops off, though. Oh, my god. ByuN made the executive decision there to drop off those Marines on top of the existing Marines already. Just to oh, my god. That's so sick. He didn't even hesitate, right? Like, that's the crazy part about ByuN's gameplay. He's very good at making these executive calls. It's also when, like, for example, he stands on the creep, he stims the Marines, stands them in location, even though he sees the Banelings rolling up, right? He does that all of the time where he knows, no, I do not need to kite back right now. I know this because I failed many, many times in the past, and I guess by failing over and over and over again, at some point you will succeed. It's so sick. Like, how many times can you have been in that situation before? I also want to emphasize that those were unupgraded Terran units going up against Zerglings with +1 Carapace. That's quite a lot. Like, +1 Carapace actually helped that a lot. I don't know if ByuN knew that at the time. I think if it was 0-0 links, those Marines would have cleaned them up much easier. Anyways, couple of Lings over here. They'll try and get the kill right there on the tank, and they will, but once again, a handful of Lings will at the very least go down. And ByuN, once more, just like we saw in game number 1, is happily progressing forward. Right? He's got himself 57 workers going up against, once again, a Zerk drone count right here that's in the 40s. It's just not really what you want, right? It's not great. Finally, maybe right now we can see like a run by. The Lynx, I think they might be able to go on over to the third base. The problem is that we know that. Dark doesn't. I'm once again at the risk of being a ByuN fanboy, guys. Oh, the target firing! It's so easy though, right? So he loses a couple Marines there, but it's fine because he still has 16 left over at the perfect time. At the same moment here, though, he goes in on the left as well. Fourth base was in a lot of trouble, and ByuN plays a very beautiful game number 2. Alright, so our next game will take place on 2000 atmospheres, and since of course this is a best of 5 series, it's already match point number 1 right here for our Terran player. Now that being said, these first 2 games of the series, they did start off with Dark being behind, right? So in game number 1, he went for a failed roach push, which I don't really know exactly what he expected, to be honest. Like, the only thing I can really come up with there is that he has played against ByuN so many times that he knows that ByuN oftentimes just doesn't scout at all, and he opens up with a Marine first rather than a Reaper. So maybe against that kind of opener, it would have just been an auto win, right? But since ByuN did scout, it seemed a little bit silly. And he just simply fell very, very far behind there right from the get-go. And then obviously in game number 2, we had that double barracks approach, but we didn't see any micro-back on any of those drones, and it just seemed like a bit of a questionable response, all things considered. I mean, he was trying to basically stop it in its tracks, and I know that's exactly what Cyril and Raynor and whatnot do as well, but I don't usually see them losing like 12 drones there. That little nuke between the barracks and the pillar and then that rock, right? Like that little choke point there created by ByuN was really, really nice, and it killed a whole lot more workers than I think Dark was anticipating as well. So, bit of an unfortunate series so far here for Dark. Let's see if he can, in this particular game, on this map, can stabilize, right? Can get into a spot where he's actually feeling a little bit more comfortable. That being said, I mean, even if that happens, you're still playing against ByuN. ByuN's kind of scary. Okay, SCV Scout goes across, Marine first once again. It is a little ironic that ByuN is one of the major reasons why the Reaper ended up getting nerfed years ago. And these days, he doesn't really seem to open up Reaper first very often in this matchup anymore. Isn't that kind of funny? Like, this man literally got a unit nerfed because he won, like, the World Championships and a whole bunch of other stuff with it. And these days, apparently, he doesn't open up Reaper anymore. He's going SCV Scout into a Marine. The real advantage here, obviously, is that you can get your tech out a little bit faster. So it's nice because everything is just a little bit quicker, and you can start up your mid-game harass. Or I guess it's still early game harass, but you can start up like your Hellion and whatever other follow-up you have a little bit quicker. So every single timing attack that you go for also hits a bit faster. If he wants to go, for example, for a Marine-based push, I mean, it's something that just hits, once again, like another, I don't know, like 5 to 10 seconds or so sooner. And with how tight these early game build orders are for Zerk as well, it is pretty neat. By the way, on this particular map, my perspective is all off. So this is a pillar over here. I don't know if I can show you better on the other side of the map. So this is a pillar where an Overlord can hide. And it's not really apparent to me until I zoom in. Are you seeing this? So like right now you can see that it's like on a different plane than the actual like... But doesn't it look like it's on the same... I don't know. Maybe I'm blind. I can't really see perspective very well on this map. Oh my god, there's a little dude dancing in there. Very nice. Either well, I don't know if he's dancing. He might be drowning. that turned really bad. For yeah, I think he might be drowning. Anyways, that was not great. This is, by the way, an underwater map as well, just like Abyssal Reef is. Abyssal Reef is one of the maps that's, yeah, it's kind of legendary for being really good, but also for just being nice overall with some of the graphics that it's got. So units on this particular map will oftentimes, rather than fall down to the ground, float to the surface instead, which I kind of like. Now look at this. It's a Widowmine and a Hellion coming out at the same time out of a factory? Huh? Pretty sure there's a lot of people that don't even know that that is possible. Most of the time we see 2 Medivacs coming out of a starport and then 2 Vikings coming out of a starport. But technically speaking, you can go 1 Viking and 1 Medivac just fine as well. The same right here, of course, for that Widow Mine together with the Hellion. So SCV pulled off the mineral line right here to deal with that link, but it's not going to be enough. Anyways, there's a Widow Mine in this party as well. Link speed is finished though. Plenty of queens available too. Maybe an Overlord or 2 would be nice. Nope. Now the Widow Mine is spotted obviously as well. Oh, it's still going to be Cloak as a follow-up and still Hellions as well. Okay. So this is kind of odd. This is one of those build orders that's technically inefficient, I think. But it's still kind of cool because you open up with a bunch of Marines and then that Medivac, right? And then you still follow up with Hellions and the Banshee. Obviously, this means that this will all hit a little bit later. But maybe Dark is going to be in a false sense of security here? Well, I don't think so. This man is even going for an extra Spore right here between the natural and the 3rd base. This is about as safe as you can be as a Zerg player, okay? He hasn't started up a lair, but this is still gonna give him plenty of time to respond. It's gonna be Hellbats, though, which actually is kind of painful. I mean, how many queens are we on? 9 queens. I think he should be okay. I think he should be okay. 9 queens here together with Zerglings. It is quite nice. Love the fact that he's uprooting the Spore Crawler there as well. Yeah, 9 queens. He's going up to 11 right now. 9 queens is the standard that Raynor has been playing recently. And yeah, I mean, it's just really strong. If you're a Zerg player and you're struggling against like early game Terran stuff, just make more queens. Is the Branda right there walking the Spore Crawler? That's very cute, man. I've never seen that before. Anyways, look at this. Aww. Actually, it's a Spore Crawler walking Brenda. Oh my god, poor drone. Anyways, yeah, that was a good defense there. And he was still capable of going for the double upgrades, which I like. We see a macro hatch going up. Lair should be coming up very soon as well. Lair's actually kind of late. Normally you go Lair first and then Bailing Nest. I'm not sure exactly. Maybe it's a panic response right here to seeing the amount of Hellbats. Queen transfusions. Very nice. Same time though, Banshee's going to the main base. But also this was anticipated here by Dark. Okay. So this is a much better start right here from Dark. He does end up losing a lot of links there, I think, but he's not losing any drones, right? Which is, yeah, the main problem. Lair's a little bit late, so no mobile detection here anytime soon, but yeah, the most important part is that you just don't lose any of those workers. 4th base was also delayed, obviously, so we're gonna see at least some long distance mining here for a little while. In the meantime, on the side of the Terran player, we have a lot of Terran pieces, okay? He's gonna go for the double upgrades, of course. NG base, 3rd command center has just now landed on location 2. He's gonna be able to go for a timing attack if he wants to, with combat shield and, for example, +1/+1, as well as, of course, already that upgrade right there in the armory as well, which is quite nice. Especially when you go for the Widow Mine upgrade, it just allows them to, yeah, take a little bit more damage. That being said, I mean, ByuN, he does go for timing attacks, but he certainly doesn't do it all the time, right? He's like, well, you know what? My Zerg player seems to be very preoccupied with defending at home. I'm just gonna send literally all my units towards the other side of the map. A little bit of a gamble though, because exactly this kind of move can become a bit painful. Banshees are still roaming around in a good location too. Okay. Double Widow Mine drop comes up as well. I thought maybe he wanted to go for some aggression over here at the 3rd base of the Zerg player, but there's plenty for the Zerg there to defend. 2nd factory starts up as well, which I like. Yeah, big difference though in this game compared to the previous one, right? Is that we just simply haven't seen the Zerg player take really any damage. It's not that ByuN is like behind at this point, but he certainly has been trying to deal damage and it just hasn't really happened. Anyways, Marines and Hellbats right over here. I think that they may very well try and create a distraction right here for these Widow Mines to come in. Okay, Banelings trying their very best to connect. Most of the Hellbats are gone. All of the Hellbats right now are gone. Let's watch this Medivac drop. Isn't going to be able to get any work done. Good response right there by Dark, who also now is forced to do the same thing on the other side of the map. Looks like a couple of Banelings actually rolled into the 3rd base of the Terran player. So a lot of action very quickly here. Good defense by Dark. Doesn't really take a whole lot of damage here. Deals with the drop over here. Deals with the Widow Mines. Deals with the Banshees. And while there is a lot of lost mining time, he has Yeah, he's got a good amount of eco here. And considering the amount of pressure ByuN has been putting him under, he's doing a fantastic job just simply defending. Okay. Doesn't have that killer eco yet, though. I would really like to see him sitting at like 80 plus workers here, but I guess it's going to be very hard to acquire that. Once again, links go in. Okay, so this is some good analysis. Just barely enough units. This is what ByuN's strength really is, right? Having like just barely enough units in the right place at the right time. Once again, like that was a big Zergling run by, but it just barely had enough right there to defend, and that's exactly what you need. Like if you have more than that, it's unnecessary. Still 8 SCVs end up going down. Banshee's still being a nuisance too, man. Oh. Marauders in the front, soaking up a couple of Banelings. You see how he was microing that separately? I kind of like it. Infestation Pit. Okay, will be cancelled. Creep spread is looking really pushed back though. This is really not looking too hot for Dark. Like, the creep spread is looking very mediocre. I feel like we are constantly moments away from the third base being overwhelmed. 2-2 is coming up here as well. Now, that being said, 2-2 is going to finish up quite a bit faster for our Zerg. Although, since the Infestation Pit got cancelled, he is a little bit late on starting up the Hive. Good Baneling hits right over there, though. Widowmines also get some pretty good damage done. Right now, there are Hydras available. With their ranged upgrade, they are going to be capable of outranging the Widowmines, but you obviously still need enough right here to deal with the Marines as well. Baneling Nest at the front. A couple of Banes do get morphed in right here, just barely in the nick of time, but I don't think it really matters. Those were Panic Banes if I've ever seen some. I think a couple more Banelings indeed are coming up, so few right here on the center of the map. They accidentally get found here. Very fast response time as well from ByuN. At the very least, he grabs a couple of Marines there, but the real fight is happening over here. Most of the Queens are forced to use their transfusion energy that they have been saving up for the entirety of the game. This is, I think, just barely gonna be a defended, especially when reinforcing Hydras come out. But these are fights, once again, whenever you use the word barely, it's pretty much always in favor of Terran. These Terran units are practically free. Okay, well, that was unfortunate. But they're pretty cheap. And considering Dark doesn't have that killer of an eco, he is running into some problems here. Okay, well, now there's more Medivacs than units. Well, I say that. He's just not letting go off the gas. Sometimes you wonder if ByuN needs to shift gears, right? But he's never driven a manual before. Or maybe he actually has for a long time. He's like, you know what? It's fine. I'll just stay in the second gear for a long time. We'll just stick to Marines with Stimpack and Medivacs. And I'll just crank it, man. Put my foot on the floor. And so far, it seems to be working out quite well. Jeez, what a battle. Drones are pulled away right now as well. Okay, the Hydras are starting to target fire down some of these Medivacs. Medivacs right now are out of energy for the most part. I mean, other than the two that just joined in. So this aggression is gonna have to stop at some point. Normally it stops though when like Banelings accidentally connect here. Especially with these fights on Creeper when the Terran's forced to lift up. There we go. Finally Dark defends it. Would that be an overextension here? I mean, if he can kill all of these Widowmines, that would be fantastic. If you can kill the Widowmines, I actually think this is a pretty good hold here for Zerg. Yeah. These Widowmines are not cheap. I mean, they're not expensive either, but... That's a little bit of Zerg bias coming in, okay? They're pretty cheap. They're not siege tanks is what I'm trying to get at. Alright. Now, what I tried pointing out earlier is that the Hive did not start up yet here for Zerg, right? Meaning that Terran can go straight into the 3-3 upgrades, whereas Zerg is going to be stuck at, well, mid-game units. These Terran units, these bio units especially, scale so very well to the late game. Concussive Shell starts up, +3/+3 starts up. I mean, especially when the +3 weapons finishes up, which is by far the most important upgrade. ByuN is going to be a very happy Terran player when he goes up against 2-2 Zerg. Couple of drones once again end up going down here actually to a Widowmine drop. Okay. Maybe the Medivac will end up going down. Alright. I think that's fair though. Doesn't really matter too much. The creep spread is still looking very lackluster. Meaning that expanding towards future bases is going to be quite hard for the Zerg. you have a quick look right here, I mean, you can see that it's basically backed up against the hatcheries here all of this time. And that's because of the pressure that ByuN has been executing this entirety of the game, right? Is he going to try and take this base? I mean, I'm sure he would love to, but he needs to get creep all over this area before he can really consider doing that first. Well, he's going to try and send a drone over there, and then the drone gets killed, and then the Widowmine is going to unburrow, and it's maybe going to reburrow again, right? He's going to do that little dance again, and it allows ByuN more breathing room. Okay. Drone, of course, gets killed. A couple of Zerg units are going to have to fly on over in that direction. ByuN now knows that his opponent is intending on taking that base on the left side of the map. So guess what? A Medivac is already on its way to cancel a hatchery that may very well be coming up after that base is indeed acquired. Yeah, the creep here is the biggest problem. Like, supply-wise, he's fine. Eco-wise, he's doing just fine as well. Not great, but fine. Okay, well, he's going to try and set up a surround right here off creep. Not usually what I would like to see, especially now with reinforcing Terran units coming in from the back. A couple of siege tanks do siege up as well a little bit later than you would like to. Banelings, though, are used to take care of those, and I don't think that's really what you want to do. Right now, it's ByuN who can continue capitalizing on this. I think you can keep going, my man. Okay, he decides to indeed load up a couple of Medivacs with units to maybe send them towards the left side of the map. Always thinking ahead here. He knows that Zerg is going to try and pick up that base. I think the Widowmine may have gotten cleaned up during that little engagement over here. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to try and see if I can counter that base instead. Wouldn't be surprised right now if he's waiting for that Medivac group to arrive on the left side before he commits to fighting here once again on the creep. Always in multiple locations. Okay, here we go. Stimpack, scan, Zergling send over here in that direction. Okay, very nice. Once again, get some good engagement. Sure, gets a good engagement, and here we go. Terran army moving on the right as well. He's also taken another command center, by the way, during all of this. It's, well, I guess that's like the 5 o'clock position or so. Anyways, that one's going to be able to turn into a planetary fortress very soon as well. And even though he didn't manage to deny the base right here on the left, he did kill the base on the right, which is arguably even better. Yeah, ByuN is all over Dark in this series. It's starting to look like my ladder games right now. Yeah, this is yeah, kind of dangerous, man. It's not that like one thing in particular is going wrong here for Dark. It just feels that so far here he's getting outplayed. And I don't like using those words at this level because Dark, I mean, he's a freaking world champion, a previous world champion of StarCraft. He's like a GS. He's won everything. But in this particular game here, in this particular series, he is being outclassed. Now, don't get me wrong, Dark is not out of this game yet. He's got Vipers right now. He's got 3-3 right now. He's getting bases up and running. He's heavily oversaturated on this base. But if ByuN drops the ball here, he can definitely come back into it. That said, ByuN so far hasn't really been dropping the ball at all. Love this engagement through the choke point as well, by the way. If I would have done that siege up, I would have blocked all my Terran units. I just want to point that out. My Terran units would not have been able to cross that little bridge anymore, but Dark's like, oh, ByuN is like, nah, it's fine. This is a very difficult situation to break, I guess. Vipers are going to be important, so he does have Blinding Clouds available. Abductions, of course, also very nice. Okay. Marauders once again in the front. Trying to soak up some Baneling hits. Scan, maybe? Yep, there we go. Ghosts already come out as well. This is Dark anticipating, ByuN anticipating Dark's Ultra switch, or I guess just EMPs on Vipers can also be good. Okay, Parasitic Bombs right here being utilized. Great splits right there by ByuN. Picks off the weakened units out of the group very quickly. Minimizes the amount of damage he actually takes. But this now makes it much easier, though, for, well, this makes it much easier right now for the Terran player, or sorry, for the Zerg player to defend, right? So having those Vipers into the mix is really nice. Their skills are super powerful against this kind of slow-pushing Terran army. He has secured another base right now as well on the top left. Okay, very good. Siege tank apparently got abducted there. +3/+3 is now done as well for these links, although he does not have Adrenal Glands, which I would very much so like to see. Here we go. Massive amount of Zerg units right now flying forward on the map, right? Using their little wings, and there we go. This is the battle I think that Dark was looking for a little while to try and break out of this position. Well, I say that, a lot of reinforcements are coming up as well, and ByuN still holds his ground. My God. Where are these units even coming from? Insane. There were so many links here on the left. I don't know exactly what happened to them. Adrenal Glands is so important right now, by the way. So that's the Zergling upgrade in the spawning pool. It gives them like, I think it's like 38% attack speed, something along those lines. It's a massive attack speed improvement for links, especially with +3 melee. It's very good. Bottom right-hand corner of the map, though, is all Terran. He can take 2 more bases easy peasy. There is 0 chance that Zerg is going to run on over there. So he can do whatever he likes in the bottom right. Okay, gets a Viper. Okay, he does not actually. Oh, the Viper instead gets an abduction, although the Viper eventually goes down. The cost of a Ghost and a Siege Tank, though, I think that's fine. ByuN's next point of attack is going to be right over here. Parasitic Bomb once again goes down on the Medivac, though. That's really quite nice. A couple of Siege Tanks are not sieged up right here in time, so that does mean that Zerg once again can move a little bit further forward. ByuN sending a lot of reinforcing units in this location of the map once more. We do see these Medivacs running dangerously low on hit points, but once again... ByuN, that was insane. ByuN just, yeah, outclassed Dark. Yeah, I don't know. That really seemed like ByuN was just a couple hundred MMR above Dark. Beautiful series right here by our Terran player, who obtains the victory with a 3-0 advantage. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, hit that like button down below. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button so you get notified as soon as future videos go live. Today, I want to give a special shout out as well to, of course, the Patreon supporters. If you want to support my channel directly, you can head on over to patreon.com/LowkoTV. And unlock a couple of perks. Like I mentioned, I will also go ahead and post the Patreon page of Olimo League down below. So if you want to support them instead, which is totally fine, by the way. I mean, they make awesome tournaments, and supporting them is also great for StarCraft. I'll go ahead and post a link to theirs down below as well. Anyways, for now, thanks for watching. Have an awesome day. Don't forget to smile. And I'll see you once again in the next one.